you all had a safe weekend. Blessings to all of you for a peaceful, prosperous week. I'm going to be bringing you several different contents during this live. If it gets a bit winded, which it will, please come back at another time to check out the said commentary and information. Each information will have a source. The start of this live will be pertaining to Chadwick Carr missing out of East Tennessee. He was at a halfway house in Clinton last year and he went missing. He's on his cell phone talking to his sister. The line went dead and no one has heard from him since. I got a notification today in the Newsbreak app. Please go to the Newsbreak app, download it if you want to know of local and breaking news in the United States. There was commentary in there pertaining to his disappearance, and I decided to go ahead and talk about Chadwick because I did not speak about him on his anniversary of him missing. So we're going to chop up the disappearance of Chadwick Carr. We're going to dissect what possibly happened to Chadwick, and I also will be bringing you breaking news that is posted to my community board. There will probably be 3 or 4 other subject matters during this live. As I said, this will possibly be a very winded live. So if you can't stay for the entire live, please check back to the beginning of the replay and enjoy the commentary. Thank you for joining me. Chadwick Carr, subject number 1. Thank you for joining me. Hello, everybody in the chat.
Been more than 2 weeks since a 32-year-old Clinton man went missing, leaving behind more questions than answers. Chadwick Carr's family says it's not like him to disappear for one day, let alone 2 weeks. Now they are sharing their story, hoping maybe you have seen him. WAT's 6 News Side reporter Jordan Brown spoke to the family today. And Jordan, what did they tell you?
Well, Bo, they tell me they're not giving up. They're working with Anderson County detectives to follow up on every single tip. And even though they say this behavior is unusual for Chadwick, they tell me they still have hope.
He does not do stuff like this. He doesn't just disappear.
This mother knows her son.
But I call in between the shower,
They share a bond so close, sometimes words aren't even necessary.
we don't have to talk because he knows he can come, pull up and show up, knock on the door.
So when Krista Carr's baby boy mysteriously vanished 2 weeks ago, she felt it before it was said out loud.
For him to disappear like that is not his character. He knows not to ever leave us, ever.
Chadwick Carr was last seen in Anderson County on May 2nd. In the days leading up to his disappearance, the family says there were no red flags, no alarming conversations, no unusual behavior.
His best friend called me and said, "You need to call his number." They said Chad is missing. And I was like, wait, I just talked to him. I was just on the phone with him last night.
It's been 2 weeks of agony for his family.
His phone and a flip-flop and his fan keys and everything was still on the scene. He never took anything.
I don't want to think the worst. I'm not ready to think the worst. But there's been times when I would ask the Lord to go ahead and, help me do a little preparation.
It's been a long 2 weeks for detectives as well, but they say they're not giving up.
The tips were really coming in good there for about 2 or 3 days. None of them actually panned out, but I'm still hopeful. I'm not going to let this go. Not till we find out something.
As difficult as all this has been, it's the hope of seeing Chad again that keeps this family going.
I'm not going to stop looking until I find him.
It doesn't matter how he gets here. Just, bring him home. I get to that point.
Now, the Anderson County Sheriff's Department says the investigation is ongoing. They're currently partnering with agencies in surrounding counties to help bring Chadwick home. Bo?
All right, Jordan, thank you. And if you think you have seen Chadwick Carr or you know where he may be, the Anderson County Sheriff's Department wants you to call them immediately. The number is on your screen right now. It's 865-457-2414.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining me. WATE News is the source. This is content from a year ago. Chadwick Carr, 32 years of age at the time. You hear his mother speaking in this commentary that it is unlike his behavior, disposition to not contact her or his sister. The sister gives you commentary that she was on the phone at the time of his disappearance. At the scene was his van, car keys, one flip-flop, and a phone. What happened to Chadwick Carr? Thank you for joining me. If you'd like to donate to this great network, Everyday Shenanigans, $Big Angie, 129 Cash App. Thank you all for joining me. Let's chop up what's going on. Where is Chadwick Carr? Somebody knows where he is. I'm going to go ahead and read the article that was just uploaded to the Newsbreak app pertaining to the disappearance of Chadwick Carr. So for those of you who have never followed this network, I talk about missing persons, children on occasion. I do not talk about news cases pertaining to children for obvious reasons. I talk about breaking news of various topics. One of those topics is Chadwick Carr. He is a local here in this area. I know of some people that know Chadwick Carr. I have never met him personally. You can go into my library to see videos where I actually go on the ground to interview people in Oliver Springs, which is neighboring Clinton, Tennessee, to get a gist of what they heard about Chadwick, what they heard about the Halfway House, the foundation, what they know of the story. Please go in my library to check out my content. I go to the scene, film the house to show you where he was staying. It's a nice sized house on a piece of property out in the county, Anderson County. And there's something suspicious about this story because there's no way I'm going to believe he just disappeared into thin air. And if he's known to contact his family, why would he not contact them? Contact someone. He also has a son. So now there's a child out here without a father. This is a very baffling story. Somebody knows what happens. I'm going to chop up everything that I know of pertaining to Chadwick Carr. I will try to be very delicate in my commentary as not to offend anyone, but it is obvious that he had a substance abuse problem. That is why he was at the Halfway House. We're going to discuss all of that information. Thank you for joining me. Okay, everybody, let's see. All right. Enlightener.com brought forth information pertaining to Chadwick Carr. If you need verification, East Tennessee Enlightener is the source. This article is serving Knox, Blount, Anderson, and Jefferson counties. Inside of this information, you can see a picture of Mr. Chadwick Carr. It says underneath his picture, Chad Carr last spoke with his family on May 3rd, 2021. There is a $5,000 reward for information locating him or to anyone connected to his disappearance. EastTennesseeEnlightener.com. This content was posted August 14th, 2021 by The Light. Missing persons poster. There's a photo ID picture of Mr. Carr. Gender male, race black, height 5'9", weight 230, eye color black, hair color, he is bald. Date of birth 8/5/1988, County Anderson, where he went missing. The residence 1105 Dutch Valley Road, Clinton, Tennessee. $5,000 reward has been offered by a private party for viable information that will locate Chad or the rest, interesting, or the rest and the conviction of the person or persons involved in his disappearance. If you have any information, please call the Anderson County Dispatch at 865-457-2414. Also in this commentary, you will see a picture of Mr. Carr and his sister, Whitney Williams Carr. Chadwick Carr loves to make people laugh. Every day he posts some type of entertaining content for his fans. Anything to bring a smile to people's faces and brighten their day. He's a comedian, or think he is, his sister Whitney Williams Carr told Dateline with a small laugh. He's very outgoing and very much a people person. The 32-year-old's post on social media stopped on May 2nd, 2021, the same day that Whitney last spoke with her brother on the phone. Chad had checked himself into the Foundation in-house recovery facility in Clinton, Tennessee after a near overdose in January of this year. Chad was nearing the end of his 90-day treatment. During that time, he had found employment and had just purchased a car the day before, according to reports. Whitney said at first the conversation seemed fine. Then he stepped outside the foundation house recovery facility in Clinton, Tennessee to smoke and put the phone down to light a cigarette. Whitney said she heard talking in the background. Then the line disconnected. Whitney said she immediately called him back several times. That was not unanswered. That was not answered. Chad failed to show up the next day for an early morning meeting at the facility. Then later that morning, his construction job made calls, inquired of his absence. His family knew something was wrong. She said they became even more concerned when Chad's cell phone, wallet, van keys, and a single flip-flop sandal were found left behind at his residence. Over the past several months, the Knox County native was living in the Oliver Springs area of Anderson County, but he kept in contact with his mother and his sister nearly every day. He's been through a lot, but he's a hard worker and he would have shown up for those responsibilities, Whitney said. And he loves his job, loves doing construction and working with his hands, building and creating things. He didn't take anything, she said. It's almost like he's a ghost and he just vanished. Whitney and their mother, who live in Knoxville, filed a missing person report with the Anderson County Sheriff's Office. The Knoxville police also joined the search effort, posting pertinent information to social media asking for the public's help. 2 weeks after Chad's disappearance, Anderson County Detective Daryl Slater released a statement on video telling reporters that they had exhausted all efforts in Anderson and Knox counties and asked the public to call with any tips they may have. The tips were really coming in good for the first 2 or 3 days, but none of them really panned out, Detective Slater said at the time, but I'm still hopeful. Chad's family has not given up on finding him and says it has taken a toll on them. His sister Whitney told Dateline she's trying to be strong for their mother and for Chad's son. That's her baby boy. This is really breaking her, she said. And his son has the same smile and same comical personality. I'm just trying to keep it together for all of us. We don't have a lot of answers right now, but what we do know is he wouldn't just walk away from his family, Whitney said. He does not do this. Whitney told Dateline she doesn't know what more can be done, but she is hopeful and praying that someone will come forward with information that connects them to her brother. Chad was nearing the end of his 3-month stay at the Foundation Recovery House in Clinton, Tennessee, when he vanished. Up to this time, the facility has not been held accountable, offered a response or explanation to Chad's disappearance. After a 2-week effort, local law enforcement has concluded that there is not much more they can do and is seeking tips, information from the community. Chad is 32. He's a 32-year-old black male wearing a bald haircut. He stands about 5'9" and about 230 pounds. He was last seen wearing black shorts, black tank top, and tan flip-flops. If you need verification for the information that I just brought you, E.T. Enlightener is the source of this information, serving Knox County, Blount County, Anderson, and Jefferson counties. Thank you for joining me. I want you all to think about what was said at the end of this article. I'm going to repeat it. Up to this time, the facility has not been held accountable, offered a response or explanation to Chad's disappearance. Why not? Why have you not had a response? It is my understanding that a Caucasian female owned the foundation, and I have not had anything nice to say about the female or the inhabitants of this halfway house or the staff, because I know in my right mind that, one, you had to have cameras on and inside of the property because you're dealing with people who have been dealing with substance abuse and or have broken the law. So common sense would tell you, plus mental disabilities, you would have surveillance cameras. So I'd like to know why the foundation has not cooperated with authorities. I'm going to say you haven't cooperated because you haven't issued a statement. Anybody that's concerned about their client who is known to use substances, why would you not speak to the public to say, we are very sorry that he's missing. We have no idea where he went. what happened to him. Well, I know in my right mind, you do know what happened to him. For those of you who are new to this channel and new to this content, I had contact with someone who happened to be staying at the foundation around this time of his disappearance. At the time, the person that I met, I did not know that they were even living at the foundation. I just put two and two together when the article popped up in my notifications from the Newsbreak article. I started thinking about a conversation I had with a male. They called me one night, frantic, saying they needed me to come get them. I didn't even know where the person was. They didn't even tell me where they were at the time. I was just putting things together because that's the gift of discernment that I've been blessed with. Amen. I said to myself, what is wrong with this commentary? This person is trying to get me to come get them. It was late night. They wouldn't tell me where they were. Then they finally said they were in Clinton. So my mind was saying, wait a minute, wait. This doesn't make any sense. So out of the blue, that incident took place maybe a week or two before the disappearance of Chadwick Carr. When the article popped up about Chad and I saw the address, that's all it took for me. That's when I knew. I said, I'll be damned. This person is at the same damn place with Chadwick. Now, many of you are going to say, how in the world did she put that together? I did. And I'm going to tell you how I know the person was there. When I zoomed in on the photograph of Chadwick, he takes a picture of himself, obviously that same day, because what he is verified in wearing and being last seen in the tank top and flip-flops, that's what he was wearing in the photograph. And in the photograph, when I zoomed the picture in, I saw a person's name up on the bulletin board, which verified you were there when Chadwick was there. Because there would be no need for your name to be up on the board if you were not staying there. So I'm going to say this to this person if they're listening and to the general public. Why were you calling me a week or two before, frantically wanting me to pick you up and not reveal where you were? When I called you after finding out that Chadwick Carr was missing, I asked you, were you living at the foundation? You wouldn't answer. I asked you, did you know Chadwick Carr? You asked me to describe him. And when I described him to you, you hung up the phone and blocked me. So that leads me to believe that, A, you were there when Chadwick Carr went missing. 2, you know what happened to Chadwick Carr. 3, you were possibly involved in the disappearance of Chadwick Carr or harming Chadwick Carr. Because why would you ask me something you already knew the damn answer to? You were there. What happened to him? What happened while he was smoking a cigarette out there? My understanding is that this conversation took place after 9 p.m., which would be dark 30, while he's speaking to his sister. What happened? Did somebody follow Chadwick outside of the property? Was somebody already outside? Was there a physical altercation? Were there words spoken to somebody? Chad and other parties, plural. What was said? What happened? Why only his keys, the van, one flip-flop and a phone left behind? My understanding is that the flip-flop was found in the grass on the property, along with the phone. So one could say he had an altercation, or as someone said in the comment section of this article, he had a scuffle. Amen. What kind of scuffle? What was going on at this halfway house? Was he still using narcotics? Was he trafficking narcotics in this house? I got information when I went on the ground last year in Oliver Springs that the house had a raid a month or so before the disappearance of Chadwick Carr. Now, one could ask themselves, why the hell would authorities be raiding a halfway house? Well, it would be for the obvious reasons. They were whomever, staff / patrons, clients, were engaging in illegal activities dealing with drugs. So was somebody in the halfway house selling drugs? Was somebody in the halfway house using drugs, bartering with drugs, favors dealing with drugs in the house? Why would authorities be raiding a halfway house? I got that information talking to a young man at the hardware store in Oliver Springs, Tennessee. I also talked to another elderly lady. You could go back to my previous videos to get this information in the interview at Bubba's thrift store, where a elderly Caucasian woman gives me information. She did not want to be on camera and seen, but she lets it be known that there was a lot of hanky-panky going on with the halfway house. Many of the people that I talked to at the hardware store didn't even know the Chadwick Carr was missing. Now, this is primarily a white area. As I have told you all many times, where I live is predominantly white. So that area is also white. This is all East Tennessee. There are not a lot of black people in this area. Anderson County, Knox County, Blount County, Jefferson County. It's all the same. All the way up to Virginia, Kentucky, Georgia, so on and so forth. Something happened at that halfway house. Some people commented on the page, on the news article about knocking on the doors. Well, my understanding is that the family did go out asking questions. People went out asking questions. But what you have to understand, this is rural America. So the houses will be spread out. It's barren land that stretches from here to New York. Okay? Some people said he liked to walk. But when you go out there and you look and see how the roads are made, we do not have a lot of sidewalks here in East Tennessee. It's barren land. So I doubt that he will be walking down the street. Too dangerous. Riding a bicycle. Too dangerous. No public transportation. Someone also made a very negative comment pertaining maybe his dealer did it. Well, first of all, you have to have knowledge that he was still using narcotics. 2, you would have to know that the dealer knew where he could be found. 3, what are the odds of the dealer showing up to the house, risking being detected, knowing that possibly there would be surveillance cameras on the property? And by no means am I in agreement with this allegation, but this is a comment that someone left on the page that I read today underneath the article. Was he using narcotics while living at the Foundation House, Mr. Carr? My understanding from a source that I do believe, and I trust this person's commentary, that he was inebriated on that Sunday. The same day he went missing. That is what I got from a source. He was under the influence of drugs on the day that this person talked to him, which is the same day he was last seen and talking to his sister. Was he still using drugs and living in the Foundation House? Were there other clients also using drugs? Is this a drug-related crime? Is he alive or is he deceased? Was he murdered there at the Foundation House? I do believe the patrons know what happened, because there's no way you could not know. The staff, you're equally liable, because you have to check these guys in for bed, do you not? You know, I will get gritty with it, because some of you like to act slow when it comes to true crime. I don't sugarcoat anything over here. So I'm going to say this to the people who are working at the halfway house. One of you or more know what happened to Chadwick Carr, and one of you didn't sign him in for bed check. Come on with it, Quinn. The next morning, you didn't check him. The fact that his job called someone, which is possibly his friend, to say that Chad didn't come to work, you all don't find something strange with that information? I'll wait. Why in the world would a job be the first one to notify anyone that Chad didn't come to work? Don't you think where he lived would have sent a message to his mother, sister, friend, whomever he put as next of kin or a party on his information? Oh, we checked his room. He's not here. Why was it his job doing the notifying that he didn't show up? Thank you, everybody, for joining me. See, this is ridiculous. You didn't check him in for bed check because you knew he wasn't coming back. Who are the parties that were working at the halfway house on that fateful night? Were there women working in the halfway house on that night, or only men? Caucasian men or black men? I'm curious. How many men were living at the halfway house at that time? My understanding is that it could seat about 16 beds, 16 persons, if I'm not mistaken. How many men were at the halfway house on that night? Did Mr. Carr share a room with another guy? I'm assuming he probably did. My understanding that there was also a hole in the wall. What happened there? Who punched a hole in the wall? You ought to think I'd find that out. See, I have eyes and ears everywhere. What happened in that room? Thank you, Spread Love. Thank you. Was somebody fighting in the room? Did he have an altercation with somebody in his room? Was he angry and hit the wall? Was he pushed into the wall? Did they send canines out to the property to search for Chadwick Carr? I have not heard. Is he buried out on the property if no canines were brought? Because you know a canine would pick up a scent. So only a fool would bury him there. And as I said, there would have to be many witnesses to the crime. Is he buried out in the general area of Clinton, Tennessee, Oliver Springs? Let me tell you all something. When I was out there on the ground, I passed the house, the street to go there, and my stupid self kept driving. My better half was like, no, you better turn around, you better turn around. When I tell you, I ventured off onto a lonely road that went around and around and around. And I'm telling you, it would scare the hell out of you. Because I drove so far up in that holler to where I was up on a hill one way in. Meaning there would be no room for a car to pass me on the other side of the road. And on the other side of the road, which would have been to my right, which would have been on the passenger side, was a drop-off. Please follow what I'm saying to you. Perfect place to dispose of a body. Perfect place to run your car off the damn road. Accidentally. Perfect place if you had an accident in your car, who's going to find you if you fell off the damn road? I think you know where I'm going with this. It's scary as hell back up in there. And it's the perfect place to dispose of a person, perfect place to do facetious deeds. Ugly deeds. Is Chadwick Carr back up in there? Is he near the foundation house? I also believe that there is a trash collecting facility nearby. Was he dumped? It's a trash facility. I say this because it's been a year. Naturally, you will have hope when a person goes missing, that maybe they just needed time to themselves, they're mad at the world, but I don't think that's the case with Chadwick Carr. I believe what his mother and sister had to say, that he is not the type. I have seen many Facebook posts of different people who said he would not disappear. And when you watch his content on his Facebook page, you can see that Chadwick Carr, he liked himself. To some, he may appear a bit cocky. I think he liked himself a whole lot. That's just my interpretation. So he doesn't strike me as a person that would just venture off. They had sightings of him in North Knoxville off of Central, but my understanding, those sightings were incorrect. He purchased a car the day before. So let's chop this up. If one wants to say he ran off, he wanted to go get high, he wanted to do his thing. Well, as I told somebody last year that thought they knew everything, who buys a car on Saturday and runs off on foot on Sunday? I'll wait. What logical reason would he have to not leave in his own damn car? They say he was nearing a 90-month stay at the foundation house. So if it was time for him to go, he was tired of the place, he could have easily left by his own damn van. 2, call somebody to pick him up. Ubered out of there. 3, he was not there by mandation of the state or court. He willingly checked himself into the foundation facility, so that means he could willingly walk out at any time. He obviously stayed at the foundation because he felt he needed help, but one could say he wasn't getting adequate help because my source tells me he was inebriated on the same day that he went missing. Why did he backtrack into drugs? Many of you know that it is hard to stop using narcotics. I've never used narcotics, but this is what has been told to me and what I have visually seen from people who are and were addicted to drugs. They relapse. Even if they go get treatment, it is not enough. Some will say it's mental. There are functioning addicts, alcoholics, drug addicts who can still hold down a job, pay rent, pay bills, but then you have those who cannot. The drugs consume them and they have to get high every day and they let everything go, including themselves, their children, their families, their work. There's something corny about this damn halfway house. I find it very, very suspicious that the woman who owns it never came forward to speak to the public pertaining to her own client. Why not? Why would you not speak to the general public about a facility that you are running, that you're allegedly trying to help people? And many people in the comment section have said they believe the people in the house they know what happened to Chadwick Carr. And that is the scary part of this story. It's the fact that somebody knows something, and I believe it's more than one. Because you have to get him out of there if indeed you killed him. One person is not going to be able to do all that work by himself and go unnoticed. So that means it would be a team effort. Was this a setup? Had he said something to someone at the halfway house that offended them? Had he been arguing or bickering with someone in the house, a staff member, a client? Did he have something of value that they wanted? But my understanding is wallet was left behind, but that doesn't tell me what was left in the wallet, what he actually had in his wallet. Debit cards, credit cards, cash money. So we're going to go there. Inside of the wallet that belonged to Chadwick Carr, what was found in the wallet? Did he have money in his wallet? Checkbooks, debit cards. Were any of those items missing from the wallet or his persons? What valuables did he have in his room that were not there? See, we didn't get any of this information. Just the sister saying the wallet, van keys, the van, flip-flop, and a phone were left behind. But that doesn't tell me anything about what the hell was in the wallet. Did he have money? Did he just get paid? Did he take some money out from the ATM? Cash or check? Stay woke. Is this an issue of people were still getting high on the property? They were bartering with drugs, using drugs, selling drugs in the facility. Was he pilfering drugs? Had drugs on him? Arguing over something pertaining to drugs? Arguing over money? Arguing over a woman? I don't know. But I know somebody in that damn halfway house did something to him. Nobody will make me believe different. Now, as for the allegation that it could have been a dealer, once again, why would a person risk going up to that property knowing that the place would have surveillance cameras? And that goes back to my main theory that somebody in that house did something to him. Where are the damn cameras? Now, someone commented that the cameras were down that day. How the hell can you have cameras down when you're dealing with people who are on drugs, have a substance abuse problem, possibly broken the law, possibly mandated by the state and the court to be there, asked for it, going to prison? Stay woke now. Could be violent offenders, could be sadists, and you're not going to have any cameras working? Does that make any sense to anybody? Hell to the no. And the staff members will be afraid to be in a room with these people who have possibly done some very dirty deeds. Let's keep it real. You will want cameras working on the outside and the inside of the facility. Somebody knows where he is. And my fear is that Chadwick Carr is no longer alive. It will be wonderful news to know that he's alive and he just checked out of being seen physically. He is entitled to do that. We are all entitled to check out if we want. But do you want people worrying about you and you're alive. As I said, watching content on Facebook, he doesn't strike me as that type of guy that would just fall off and not talk to people. He liked posting to Facebook. He liked talking. He doesn't strike me as that kind of guy. And I've heard that from many Facebook posts of people who knew him personally. I saw only positive things in the past year pertaining to Chadwick Carr, that he was a nice guy. He liked to make people laugh. He joked a lot. So that leads me to believe he's not the type of guy, as I said, to disappear. And you hear that commentary in this news clip by his mom and his sister. Where is Mr. Carr? Who knows where he is? The guy who I was talking to briefly last year who blocked me. Did you hurt Chadwick Carr? Did one of you and your cronies at that halfway house hurt Chadwick Carr? You see, I realized that you had some issues yourself. Your behavior was erratic. The time before I talked to you on that phone call, you seemed delusional and damn near schizophrenic yourself. So one would make me wonder, did you harm Chadwick Carr? Did you or any of the housemates harm Chadwick Carr? I believe somebody did. And I believe it's more than one person. And I believe the staff also knows, because somebody would have to have made a bed check of all the clients on that night. And they would have had to check the beds the next morning. And neither one of you contacted his family, which I find highly suspicious. Why would you not contact his family when you realize he wasn't in the bed? 2, morning check, he was not there. We know that in halfway houses, you all have a lot of meetings. So in the morning, I would assume you all would have gotten up for breakfast, had a quick meeting. You didn't notice the Chadwick didn't show up. You went in his room, you didn't see him, but all his things were still there. You didn't think to call his mother, his sister, his friend, whoever his contact party is on his information. Come on now. The woman who owned this place, I do not know if she still owns it. There were a lot of nasty things said about you, social media, that perhaps you like to fraternize with your staff and clients. Is that true? Did you have a crush on Mr. Carr, ma'am? Had you been speaking with these people privately in a unprofessional manner? Did you have any type of improprieties with Mr. Carr or any other client at this halfway house or staff since owning this property? This was a newly acquired property before his disappearance. I believe it was purchased in the November before 2021. Records show. You bought this halfway house, obviously acquired it, opened it up, but I don't think you're proper dough, ma'am, because I have not heard very nice things about you. And I got a funky feeling you know a whole lot about what the hell happened in there. And I don't know if you have anything to do with the disappearance of Chadwick Carr, but you have to know something happened. Your eyes and ears, they were open. A young man made allegations against you that you touched him inappropriately in a jail. My understanding is that you have law enforcement background and that you are connected to law enforcement out there in Anderson County. Is that true? Is this an issue of a cover-up to the disappearance of Chadwick Carr? That they know what happened out there at that damn house. They've had a raid at that house. They know that illegal activity was taking place in that house, possibly with the staff and the clients and the owner herself. Is she a user? Yeah, I'm gonna go there, because I don't have anything to lose. And I've been waiting for you to say something to me, because I know you won't. We share social media friends, so let's just go there. Was the owner using narcotics? Ting. Is this a drug-related disappearance? Who knows where Chadwick Carr can be found? Is Chadwick Carr alive? And if he is deceased, how did he get to that place? And where is he? And where can his remains be found? Is he in the general area of Clinton, Tennessee, Oliver Springs, Tennessee, or near the Foundation House? I've got a feeling that those people at the house were using drugs, selling drugs, bartering drugs. I believe something jumped off that night between Mr. Carr and one of the patrons of the Foundation House, and they harmed him, killed him, took his body out, and buried him somewhere. Dumped him. Either or. And that means, how did he get off the property if indeed the patrons and the staff are involved in disposing of Chadwick Carr's body? That means you'd have to have an automobile. When I stood outside that house last year, you can please go to my library to watch the said video of me filming the house. Yes, it was a bold move for me to go out there alone, but I'm a child of God and highly favored. I had no fear. The only fear I would have had would have been possibly law enforcement coming up asking me, what was I doing? And I would have told them exactly what I was doing. While standing out there filming the house, someone drives by and asks me, am I okay? I said, yes, ma'am, I am fine. Thank you for asking. Yes, I stood near the railroad tracks and I filmed the house. What I saw was unprofessionalism. A white woman running across the lawn, hollering and screaming, small children running amok on the property, cars being repaired, people up on the top deck standing out. Something was off with this scenario. It did not look like a halfway house to me. Why was that woman running across the lawn screaming? Who was she? Why were the children there? What the hell was going on? This just looks like somebody's house that just had people over visiting. And I definitely don't recommend taking children to a damn halfway house. Small children, I don't really give a damn what their ages are. I wouldn't take him or her there. The parent gets a pass. You go see your children where they sleep, out in public, not have your family, baby mama, family, wife, bring your children to the halfway house. What's this? Is your staff bringing their children there? See, you don't know. But I do know it's unprofessional and it doesn't look good. And that is not a place for children to be fraternizing. It's on the property with people who have addictions and possibly sadists. That's why I know something happened to Chadwick Carr right there. And the thought of an outsider coming to harm him there, to me, is strange, because they would have to come up on the property and be seen. And who would risk being seen not knowing if they have surveillance cameras or not? They're going to get a bullseye view of you, your car, any altercation. Why would you risk that? And if you live there or work there, why would you risk it knowing there's cameras there? So I do believe there were non-working cameras, or possibly none, which is also liability if something was to happen to anybody patronizing this property for whatever reason. Were there working cameras ever at the Foundation House? Will they stand account for what happened to Chadwick Carr? His mother, will she be filing a lawsuit against the foundation? I would. Sue them for liability. I also would sue for wrongful death because I don't think he's alive. File a civil suit, she'll win. Because somebody would have to show surveillance up until his disappearance. All day Sunday, all day Saturday, Monday morning. Where is the surveillance footage? Inside and outside of that damn house. Thank you so much for joining me. Prayers to the family. Prayers for justice for Chadwick Carr. $5,000 reward. Anybody that knows where he is, anybody that has anything to do with his disappearance, anybody that becomes arrested in the disappearance harming Chadwick Carr. That's the said information. If you have any information, please call the Anderson County Dispatch at 865-457-2414. There are currently 361 missing persons in the state of Tennessee, and know that this number can vary for those who have not been put on the TBI list or FBI list of missing persons. Somebody knows about the disappearance, Chadwick Carr. And as I said, I do not know what happened to him verbatim, but I do believe the parties at the house harmed him. And that is including the staff, because even if you did not touch Mr. Carr, you had to know something went down there, and you are covering it up, so you are just as guilty if you put your hands on Mr. Carr. And to the person that I spoke with, I believe you are also involved, and that is very scary to know. I've been in the presence of possibly a murderer. I'm going to say that. And where are you now? Are you still here, or you are back in Georgia? Are you free of drugs? And we do know that many people go to these treatment centers, they come out higher than they went in because they never stopped using. They go home on pass and still using, which I would assume you were giving them drug tests. Something's going on here. And those treatment centers don't last long. You need a year or more treatment if you are on substances. 3 months is not enough to help with a drug problem. Thank you for joining me. If you'd like to donate to this channel, $DeGandy 129 Cash App. All chats and stickers are welcome during this live. Let's get on with story number 2. Thank you all so much for joining me. Mercy. Told you it's going to be winded. I'm almost an hour talking about Mr. Carr, but it's worth every minute. I got some really crazy stories to bring you all. Please forgive me for the content, because the content in this live is not going to be nice pertaining to the stories I'm going to bring you today. They are all dealing with murder. Thank you so much for joining me. All right, get the speaker ready. Here we go, everybody. Story number 2. Oh, Lordy. Family blames mental health abuse in Lynn triple murder suicide. CBS Boston is the source. This is a very wicked story coming out of Boston. Thank you for joining me. Excuse the noise in the background. There's work being done. Thank you so much for joining me.
Lynn family who lost 4 relatives in just a matter of hours. They posted a statement on their mailbox asking for privacy at this time, blaming mental health.
Let me play this again.
And these brutal.
We've learned some new details today about the woman accused of killing 3 family members, then herself, in Lynn. And WBZ's Tiffany Chan is in Lynn tonight with what the family shared today.
We're hearing from this Lynn family who lost 4 relatives in just a matter of hours. They posted a statement on their mailbox asking for privacy at this time, blaming mental health and abuse in these brutal shootings. 2 young children are now fatherless, the Sharifi family wrote on their GoFundMe page, following a murder-suicide that began inside this Rockaway Street home in Lynn. Prosecutors say a woman shot and killed her father and brother-in-law Tuesday before gunning down a 3rd relative a half-mile away.
She then shot and killed a 56-year-old man in his vehicle outside of 44 Layton Street, and this man was her brother-in-law's father.
The violence stretched to 3 crime scenes Tuesday, leading police to a Lynn Stop and Shop where the suspect was found dead in a car with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. ITU sources say the woman legally owned the weapons.
Yes.
Neighbors along Rockaway Street say this was a quiet home, the family mostly keeping to themselves. Linda Montori can't imagine what was going on inside that would lead to such a gruesome ending.
It's very frightening. Should really be frightening. Ears and eyes and did what our neighbors are going through, you know, they help them out, because if she didn't have to go through that after, whatever was going on there. So I felt really sad about that.
The Essex District Attorney says it's too soon to determine a motive as they use translators to piece together what led up to this violence. From Lynn, I'm Tiffany Chan for WBZ News.
All right, everybody. CBS Boston is the source. Well, I'm getting information that she was being abused. This is why she shot everybody. So as this woman is saying, be eyes and ears. Well, some of you do have eyes and ears and you still don't do anything because a lot of you don't like to intervene in people's personal business. And if this lady was getting beat up by her husband, let's say, would you have intervened if you saw him beating her up? Nobody ever heard her scream, holler. Nobody ever heard her, saw her beat up. Thank you for joining me. Always somebody watching, believe that. But will they speak up? As I always say, be a part of the solution, not the problem. But a lot of people don't want to intervene in people's personal business. I'm going to bring you another source pertaining to this deadly event that took place in Boston. Facebook posts may offer clues into Lynn murder, suicide. WCVB Channel 5 Boston is the source of the information. Thank you all so much for joining me. Slow afternoon, but that's all right.
Grisly triple murder suicide in Lynn. The Essex County District Attorney confirming the shooter was a 31-year-old woman who targeted members of her own family.
Investigators believe that a 31-year-old woman shot her 66-year-old father, her 34-year-old brother-in-law at 98 Rockaway Street. She then shot and killed a 56-year-old man in his vehicle outside of 44 Layton Street, and this man was her brother-in-law's father.
There was like pop, and then pop, maybe like 18, 19, 20, because I go pop, so I couldn't count up there.
Luz Perez lives next door and saw this all unfold yesterday evening.
Somebody left me in the black car, and after that, there was a lady coming down the stairs, yelling, screaming, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And then another lady came from here and said, call the police.
And tonight, we're also learning more about what could have sparked these killings. The woman believed to be the shooter, posting on Facebook yesterday, just minutes before she opened fire. She says her sister had physically been abused by her husband for 14 years, adding that both sets of parents knew, but did nothing to stop it. She wrote, quote, "There's no excuse for what he did. He kept doing it because no one did anything about it. This whole mindset of just work it out needs to change because it's not healthy. I will not deal with this nonsense." Now, according to a GoFundMe page posted by the family to help raise money for 4 funerals, they said this was a side effect of mental health issues, and now that 2 children are now fatherless. The person also writing, quote, "We are traumatized, heartbroken, and lost." We're live in Lynn. I'm Peter Iliopoulos, WCVB News Center.
WCVB Channel 5 Boston is the source. Is it people's responsibility to help you while you're being abused? Because in the end, it is a personal decision to stay with the abuser, to continue to live with the person, date the person, be married to the person. But there's no way in hell I'm going to let you stay in my house and I'm going to watch you be abused and have the abuser there as well. That's not going to go on. But this is a foreign family, to my understanding, and they all watched this go on with this woman. So they're guilty. Now we have children without parents. People are going to ask the obvious question, why did she stay? Why didn't she leave with her children? I'm going to bring you said commentary on what allegedly took place last week in Boston, Massachusetts. Thank you for joining me. The Independent.com UK is the source. Woman who allegedly killed 3 relatives and murder-suicide accused family of ignoring domestic abuse. Kosei Sharifi, 31, wrote a chilling Facebook post just minutes after she allegedly shot dead her father, brother-in-law, and his father. Let me get that right. Shot dead her father, brother-in-law, and his father. Wow, this is wicked. Massachusetts, hold on one second, guys. They only want me to finish reading the article. Good Lord. You got to pay for everything just to read, read a story. I don't believe I'm able to read this because it's not uploading. I'm going to see if I have found anything else. Hold on one second because this isn't working out. Oh, mercy. Interesting. Can't find it. This is not good. One second. I'm going to go. I can't get that content to pull up. They don't want you reading for free. Believe that. Thank you for your time. 28 viewing. Let's see. Trying to rank the one with the most information. Okay, here we go. Investigators have identified 4 family members who died in a triple murder suicide in Lynn, Massachusetts on Tuesday. Essex County and Lynn investigators say Kohose Sharifi, 31, shot her father. Mohammed Sharifi, 66, her brother-in-law, Sanhar Halen, 34, at 98 Rockaway Street. She then shot and killed her brother-in-law's father, Abdul Halim, 56, in his vehicle outside of 44 Layton Street. Let me repeat that again. The woman killed her father, 66 years of age, her brother-in-law, and then she went to another location and killed her brother-in-law's father, Abdul Halim, 56. Her own father, 66. Her brother-in-law, Sanhar Halim, 34, who obviously were at the same address, and then her brother-in-law's father. So now people are going to wonder, well, where is the husband at? Because I haven't heard anything about him. This is very strange. Kohose Sharifi then took her own life in her vehicle in the parking lot at Stop and Shop on Washington Street, investigators said. Investigators have not discussed the possible motives, but a Facebook post may shed light on what led up to the shootings just moments before the shootings. Ms. Sharifi posted on Facebook that her brother-in-law physically abused her sister for 14 years and that both sets of parents knew but did nothing to stop it. There's no excuse for what he did. He kept doing it because no one did anything about it, she wrote. This whole mindset of just work it out needs to change. It's not healthy. I will not deal with this nonsense as I read you all this information in this video here. Officials declined comment on the post. We cannot confirm nor will we comment on information contained in social media postings. Lynn police responded to 98 Rockaway Street shortly before 2:55 p.m. Tuesday after receiving a report of shots fired in the area. The 66-year-old and 34-year-old victims were found at the Rockaway address. Shortly after 4:25 p.m., the 31-year-old woman was found dead inside her vehicle in the parking lot of the Stop and Shop grocery store at 35 Washington Street. Authorities determined that she died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Investigators later found the 56-year-old man dead inside of a vehicle that was parked outside of 44 Layton Street, which is less than a mile away from the Rockaway Street shooting scene and less than half a mile away from the Stop and Shop shooting scene. A GoFundMe page identified the victims as members of the Sharifi family and said the tragedy was a result of mental health issues. Abuse of all types takes a significant toll on individuals affected. It leads to damage and loss in many ways. Now 2 young children are fatherless. A family member wrote, "We are absolutely traumatized, heartbroken, and lost. The shooting is being investigated by Lynn Police, the SS State Police Detective Unit, and Blodgett's office. WCVB is the source." So is it true? This woman was abused by her family. Very interesting information. Was she new to the country? Were they new to the country? What happened? Why she shoot all these people? If she's being abused, where is the husband or boyfriend? I'm confused because I didn't hear any mention. I'm hearing of her own father, a brother-in-law, his father, but I don't hear any mention of the father. Please tell me you're going to leave the suspect of the abuse behind to take care of your children. It's a very wicked story coming out of Boston area. Is this a case of domestic abuse? Who's going to take care of the children now? Now you have all these people to bury. What is the deal? Mental abuse. The same shit, mental issues. Is that appropriate to say? You're being beat up. How about, oh, she snapped. She got tired. It's not saying killing is the answer, but to kill that many people, there was a reason for her killing all these people. And possibly it is a case of domestic abuse. These people stood idly by watching the man harass the woman, physically abuse her, mentally abuse her, name calling. And is this an appropriate environment for children? We know that it is not. We know that it is not. Very crazy. Story number 3. Thank you for joining me. I got a lot to talk about. Too many stories. Bear with me. Brought you content pertaining to the disappearance of Chadwick Carr, a woman allegedly being abused by her husband or parties in a house in the Boston, Massachusetts area. She kills these people and herself, leaving behind children. This is a very wicked story here, coming out of Memphis, Tennessee. Mother of 3 killed, intentionally run over twice by own car. When I saw this earlier, I thought, dear God, what is wrong with these people? Memphis has so much going on that's negative. Every day, there is a robbery, a shooting, a mugging, a this, or that. I've never seen just all day long. It is like neck to neck with Atlanta. 2 cities in the South, just neck to neck with crime. That's why I tell people, you can't talk bad about Chicago because this place, this is the South, and this doesn't make any sense to have a population of possibly 1 million or so and have this much crime going on back and forth, back and forth. That's all you hear is negativity coming out of Memphis, Tennessee. They're killing rappers. They're killing everybody down there. Hold on one second. I have to keep gearing this Bluetooth up. She doesn't like when I talk in between videos. All right, everybody. Once again, WREG is the source. It's so sad. Oh, Lord have mercy.
The bonded, I held my own, like, I know there's something going on, I know there's something wrong.
Hardiman says the morning his mother was run over by the car, he was at home, waiting for her to pick him up for school. And when she didn't show up, he knew something bad had happened.
I was just texting her, like, Mom, I gotta go, I gotta do something really quick, calling, you know what I'm saying? It going straight to voicemail.
Hardiman says he used his phone to check his mother's location and realized she was only 3 minutes away.
I would just walk. I'm still calling and texting. So when I make it to the scene, when I make it like to the end of the street, I see crime scene tape.
So I got scared.
Joseph says by the time he made the crime scene, paramedics had already rushed his mother to the hospital. And at the same time, officers were knocking on his grandmother's door.
The police had went to the mom's house and told her, they started asking her, you know, if she was in a domestic situation. They told her, you know, she needed to get down to the hospital, that she was critical. And of course, by the time, you know, everybody made it to the hospital, she had passed away.
Lakita Hardiman is Tanisha's aunt and says when she saw her niece in the hospital, it looked like she had been beaten.
They said that she had been hit by her own car twice. So she was hit by her car. The person looped around, jumped the curb, came back and hit her again.
Investigators are still trying to put all the pieces together to figure out who killed Tanisha Hardiman and why. Meanwhile, Tanisha's 3 children are now being forced to grow up without their mother.
This my 12th grade year. It's gonna be sad. The shit ain't gonna be there. You know, everybody, the little mama's there, mine, like.
If you know what happened to Tanisha Hardiman, you're urged to call Crime Stoppers at 901-528-CASH. Your tip could help put a dangerous criminal behind bars and $2,000 cash in your pocket. Remember, all calls are confidential.
Crime Stoppers 528-CASH. You know what happened to this lady who hit her. The crazy part of this story, they hit her in her own car. 6 o'clock in the morning. Put it together, everybody. I'm going to read you said information pertaining to the death of this young lady. Thank you for joining me. Mercy. This is crazy. I mean, every day it's something. It's nonstop. WREG.com is the source. This is the main source of my information coming out of Memphis, Tennessee. Many stories I bring to you pertaining to crime in Memphis. This is the source, Channel 3 News. Mother of 3 killed, intentionally run over twice with own car. This was uploaded today, August 29th, 2022, 11 a.m. 3 children will never see their mother again after police say she was intentionally killed by a driver earlier this month. This is earlier content, everybody. That means the suspect is still at large. Who is the suspect? Why did they run this African-American woman over in her own car? Tanisha Hardiman's family is now asking anyone who can help police find her killer to come forward. The woman's aunt and oldest son sat down with WREG to tell their story in this week's Manhunt Monday. Joseph Hardiman would give anything just to see his mother's face and hear her voice one more time. My mom was a kind, loving person, Joseph said. Memphis police say someone intentionally hit 36-year-old Tanisha Hardiman with a car on August 3rd, just after 6. 1 second, you guys. Jumping off here. 6 a.m. in the morning. Investigators say it happened in the 3300 block of Mountain Terrace Street near Fraser Boulevard. The bond that I have with my mama, I know when something is going on and I know when something is wrong, Joseph said. Hardiman says the morning his mother was run over by a car, he was at home waiting on her to pick him up for school, and when she didn't show up, he knew something bad had happened. I was just texting her like, Mom, I gotta go, gotta be somewhere. Where are you? It was going straight to voicemail, Joseph said. Hardiman says he used his phone to check his mother's location and realized she was only 3 minutes away. I'm walking and texting, calling and texting. When I make it to the end of the street, I see crime scene tape, so I got scared, Joseph said. Joseph says by the time he made it to the crime scene, paramedics had already rushed his mother to the hospital. At the same time, officers were knocking on his grandmother's door. The police went to the mom's house. They started asking her if she was in a domestic violence situation, Lakita Hardiman said. They told her to get down to the hospital and that she was critical. By that time, everybody had made it to the hospital. She had passed away. Lakita Hardiman is Tanisha's aunt, and this is the woman you hear talking in the commentary I played. She says she saw her niece in the hospital. It looked like she had been beaten. They said she had been hit by her own car twice. So she was hit by her car, and then the person looped around, jumped the curb, and came back and hit her again, the aunt said. Investigators are still trying to pull all the pieces together to figure out who killed Tanisha Hardiman and why. Meanwhile, Tanisha's 3 kids are now being forced to grow up without their mother. This is my 12th grade year. It's going to be sad, and she's not going to be there. Everybody else's mom is going to be there. Mine is not, Joseph said. If you know what happened to Tanisha Hardiman, you're Urge to call Crime Stoppers at 528-CASH. Your tip could put a dangerous criminal behind bars and $2,000 in your pocket. Channel 3 News, Memphis is the source. This is just, there are no words for what I just read here. Who was driving her car? I'm going to recap what this child is saying because something's off about this story. Let's recap who was where. Let's see. It says the boy child was at home waiting on her to pick him up for school. When she didn't show up, he knew something bad had happened. He was texting his mom, "Where are you?" Everything's going to voicemail. See, that's strange. Why would her phone be going to voicemail and she's run over by a car? So is this a random crime that somebody robbed her, ran her over to make sure she's deceased, can't testify to who he is or she, and they also have her phone? Where is her phone? Was the phone left in her car, in her purse, on her persons? Where? How could she have been run over unless she was outside of the car? So you have to ask all those questions. Where was she? What was she doing? Where was she coming from? Was she coming from work? Did she go meet somebody? See, we don't have any of those answers. Just that the child was at home waiting to be picked up. He's texting her, asking her where she is. He says it goes straight to voicemail. He said he used his phone to check his mother's location and realized she was only 3 minutes away. Very interesting that he could check. I don't know how that went, but anyway. He's walking and texting and calling and texting. He finally sees the crime scene tape. He says by the time he made it to the crime scene, paramedics had already rushed his mother to the hospital. At the same time, officers were knocking on his grandmother's door. The police went to the mom's house. They started asking if she was in a domestic violence situation, Makita Hardeman said. They told her to get down to the hospital and that she was critical. By the time that everybody had made it to the hospital, she had passed away. The aunt says she saw Tanisha in the hospital and it looked like she had been beaten. This is where it gets dicey because you always have to listen to the commentary in the article. Why would the police go to the mother's house, the grandmother's house, and say, was she in a domestic situation? That's going to lead one to believe that possibly the decedent told the people in the ambulance or the hospital who hit her, or somebody she knew hit her. Because how would you know that it was domesticated from a person being hit in the street? Just asking. Did the woman tell the people in the ambulance or someone at the hospital who hit her or any identifying circumstances? Why did the person use her car to hit her? Where was she? What was she doing to get hit at 6 o'clock in the morning? See, none of this stuff makes any sense. The house where the boy's waiting, is this actually his mother's house? Okay. When they went to the grandmother's house, is this not the same house where the boy was waiting, or this is a house, another house? And her address maybe on her driver license or the car's registered or some identifying factors registered to the grandmother's house. 50,000 questions, no answers. Who was driving the car? How did they get behind the driver's seat? What is she doing outside of her own damn car at 6 in the morning? What was she doing where she was? See, none of this makes any sense. They don't even give you information about what she was doing, where she was. It's just a very strange story to me. I'm recapping the article just to make sure I bring all points of the story because it's not really telling me anything. It happened in the 3300 block of Mountain Terrace Street near Fraser Boulevard. So one would have to say at 6 o'clock in the morning, what was she doing in that area? Was she coming from work? Had she already been home that morning and stepped out to go talk to somebody, see somebody, pick somebody up, do a favor for somebody? Somebody called her, hey, I need to holler at you, I need to talk to you. Was she going to confront somebody? What, and what? Was she coming from somewhere? Did she even stay the night at her house? So you have to ask all those questions. Was she coming from somewhere, from a house, and had the party in her car with her? They got into an altercation. She told the person to get out. They didn't want to get out of her car. Maybe they pulled a gun or a knife. She jumped out of her damn car. Or did she let somebody use her car? And she was the passenger in the car. They had an altercation. She gets mad, jumps out. They hit her. Or is this random? She was coming from somewhere, carjacked, and the person doubled back to hit this woman 2 times to make sure she couldn't identify him or her or them. Is this a one-party suspect? Or are there more than one suspect? Is this a domesticated situation between Miss Tanisha and a man or a woman? I don't know. I don't know what her preferences are. This is a very baffling story. This is crazy to me. No information whatsoever. And a woman hit 2 times. And the reason why possibly this is domesticated is because we don't know what she said when she got in the ambulance and when the first responders got to the scene. Perhaps she was still holding on to life and she was able to breathe something, mumble something to the ambulance workers. And maybe they relayed that information to the police that she knew her perpetrator or more. This is horrible. Thank you all so much for joining me. All right, everybody. That was story number 3. For those that's keeping up with the rap game, Young Thug has been indicted. There's more charges, says in this commentary, DA announcing 2 new gangs in Atlanta, Fulton County. Possibly I'll bring you that said information. It's a whole lot going on. Let's talk about some more craziness coming out of Memphis, Tennessee. Thank you for joining me. This place, I've never seen a place that has violence all day long. Prayers to the family of Miss Tanisha, because now children don't have a mom. I brought you information on my community board about a woman 5 months ago whose neck was cut, slashed in an NYCHA building in the Bronx. And the update to that story is the person was apprehended. The boyfriend was charged with murder. I'll bring that at the end. Hold on 1 second. I still have something else I want to bring to you guys. 2 more stories. If I can find it. My community board is filled with stories. Let's see. Maybe not. All right. I'm scrolling through because I want to make sure I bring you all the news that I wanted to bring you guys today. I'm going to play this content pertaining to this young lady in the Bronx. I think everybody needs to hear this story. To show you don't know people, you have to be very careful the company you keep.
Bluetooth.
When you see somebody is acting erratic, threatening you, run like hell. Do not stay in a relationship. Do not go back home. If they are staying in your home apartment, bow out. Ask to preserve your life. CBS New York is the source. This is content from 5 months ago.
Members say James worked here at Empire City Casino in Yonkers, and that the last time friends heard from her was on Wednesday.
1 second.
Relatives who declined to go on camera told us the last.
Disturbing new details now in the death of a woman found inside a NYCHA building in the Bronx. Police say someone slashed the 37-year-old mother's throat and stabbed her in the chest. CBS 2's Dave Carlin reports on the shocking murder that has everyone in that community on edge.
Family members sobbed outside this Bronx apartment building where 37-year-old Bajana James was murdered inside her home. This neighbor watching from her window knew James and observed her loved ones placing candles outside the Betances houses on East 147th Street, which became a crime scene early Saturday. The neighbor told us she can't stop thinking about the children. James is survived by a 12-year-old son and 8-year-old daughter.
Not the kids don't have a mother.
The children were staying with their grandmother when the murder happened. Family members say James worked here at Empire City Casino in Yonkers, and that the last time friends heard from her was on Wednesday. Relatives who declined to go on camera told us the last contact was when James texted a friend saying she was scared of a man she was living with. The man is described by the family as a boyfriend, and they don't know where he is. James' mother went to the apartment to do a welfare check but did not get inside. Then one of James' siblings showed up, got inside, and found the body. Police say James' throat was slashed, and investigators recovered a knife.
It's heartbreaking for something like that to happen. She's a good person, mom. I always say hi to everybody when she come out.
He said many around here will not be able to rest until police catch the killer. In the Mott Haven section of the Bronx, Dave Carlin, CBS 2 News.
CBS New York is the source. What happened to this guy? Well, he's been found. Why did he kill her? It's been said that he was abusing this young lady. One is going to ask, what happened? Why did she stay in that apartment knowing he was acting erratic that same day? She was on the phone talking to family. That is the last time they had heard from her. This man slices her throat and also puts a knife to her chest, stabs her in the chest. My understanding, he cleaned the knife. He's cold. Cleaned it. He was sending a message. Yeah, I did it. Yeah, I did it. I slit her throat. I stabbed her in the chest, and then I cleaned the knife and sat it on top of her because I could. I'm going to bring you that said commentary pertaining to this beautiful girl. It's a very pretty girl. Can't make any sense out of this stuff. How long was she dating him? Why didn't she leave when she saw that he was violent, had become violent? Oh, yeah. There's another story I wanted to bring. I found it now. Hold on, you guys. So many stories to bring you. Lord have mercy. I thought I had that article pulled up about her. I think I read it. 1 second. I keep so many articles in it. Can't keep up with all of them. One second, trying to find it. May have to look for it. Let's see. Guess not. Let me see. One second. I got so many stories to bring you. It's like 1001. One second. Okay, this is pertaining to the suspect. They had so many of these stories in New York. Bear with me. I'm trying to pull up this information on the suspect. Trying to see if this is the one that has the information pertaining to the suspect. A woman who was found dead inside a NYCHA complex in the Bronx had her throat slashed, stabbed in the chest, police said. Responding officers found Bajana James, 37, unconscious and unresponsive, inside an apartment at the NYCHA's Benton's houses on East 147th Street in the Mont Haven section around 2:45 a.m. Saturday. Police said EMS then responded to the location and pronounced her dead at the scene. Police said she was found on a sofa with her throat slashed and a knife in her chest. On Sunday, police arrested Nishan Walsh, 35. It is unclear if Walsh and James knew each other. The motive behind the attack remains unclear. James' family says she was a mother of 2 young children, a son, Junior, 12, and Maya, 8. It is unclear if the kids were in the apartment during the attack. We do have information that the children were not there. I brought you that just now. The children were gone at a grandmother's house. Boy 12 and a girl 8. This article is saying it's unclear if Walsh and James knew each other. But obviously she had talked to her family. She was dating someone who was violent. I do believe this guy is the one that killed her, the boyfriend. Said he'd been acting strange that day, erratic. What was going on with him? Why did he kill her, if indeed it's the boyfriend? I'm trying to find this other article. Let's see. I have to find something else. It's funny about these articles. Well, I'll get back to that. Thank you for joining me. I just brought you a story about a woman hit in Memphis earlier in the month. Don't know who the suspect is, why they used her car to hit her. And then I stumbled across this story today of another black woman in Memphis. This time, she's not the victim. She is the perpetrator. When I read you this information, you are going to be like, what in the world is going on down there? A whole lot of nothing, nonsense. People are very violent, I see now. They do not know how to cope with their problems and people, so they act out their problems, lash out at people. Found this information in the Newsbreak app. Please download this app if you like breaking news. This was uploaded 5 hours ago. CBS 42 is the source. A woman is behind bars after a disturbing incident in Whitehaven, which all stemmed from child care concerns. Brianna Bankston has been charged with 2 counts of reckless endangerment, aggravated assault, as well as 1 charge of child abuse and neglect or endangerment. The incident occurred August 27th when Bankston went to drop off her daughter at her father's home, and an argument ensued over who would care for the child. According to police, Bankston got upset over who needed to watch the child that day. Records state shortly afterwards, Bankston went back to her car and tried to run him over with her Toyota Corolla. Police said the father jumped and landed on the hood of the car, causing abrasions to his right hand and arm, as well as breaking the car's windshield on impact. MPD said Bankston tried to run him over multiple times in front of his parents and also crashed into his parked vehicle, a 2008 Nissan Sentra, during the incident. The 9-month-old child was still inside the car, unrestrained at the time of the incident, the father claims. The child's grandparents were in the yard at the time but were not injured. Bankston was arrested and transported to the Domestic Violence Bureau for further investigation and questioning. She's being held on a $10,000 bond and expected to appear in court August 29th. Shall I read some of the comments pertaining to this utter nonsense? Here we go. Cynthia Roby says, some people don't need kids, and she's one of them. If he wasn't going to keep the child, then she should have gotten her trifling, selfish butt in her car and left. Don't know how to spell trifling. I hope they take her child away and make her pay child support. Let's see if she will have that same smile on her face then. I'm a woman, and one thing these young women has to learn is you don't have kids if you still want on the street. These men don't babysit their kids and stop thinking a baby is going to hold them down. Then you get mad when it doesn't work for you. Okay. Somebody says, as terrible an idea as this was and what it's probably going to do to her future, I'm afraid lots of us have had a thought somewhat like this. We just didn't go through with it. Praying for this child. Sounds like her being at his house, she just wanted to dump the baby off on him. She must have had more important things to do that day. When pulled over by police, she said she didn't do nothing. What? Jesus. She just scared. Ashley James' response, dump the baby off on him. It's his child too. It's not like she's tried to do this at his job while he's working. He was sitting at home with plenty of other family members. There's two that could have also helped take care of his own child. Afterthought says, that smile though, she must have thought that she finally got him out of her hair for good. Roger Rainey says, he no matter. He just a baby daddy. Thomas Young replies, she looks like she won a prize. Question emoji. Ashley James replies to Thomas's comments. Yep, play stupid games. Then you win stupid prizes. She probably said he wouldn't be responsible enough to care for the baby. Leslie responds to that comment by saying she may have difficulty too being in prison. Queen says laugh out loud, and apparently she's not sorry. When you see this commentary, Lord Jesus help me. Yes, she's smiling in the photograph. I'm assuming it's a mugshot. I don't know if it's a DMV picture. I doubt that. It's a mugshot. Why are you smiling, ma'am? You just tried to hit your baby daddy. What's really going on with you and the baby daddy? Is the father a good father? Has he been taking care of the child? Was he supposed to keep the child on that day when she dropped the baby off? Did she have to go to work? Something important? Appointment, doctor's appointment, what? What was agreed between she and the baby daddy that day? See, we don't know. The fact that he had other people there. Some will argue, well, there were other people there. But see, we don't know the dynamics between the young lady and the baby daddy and the parents. He obviously lives with his family. So you can't just run up in somebody's house and say, well, here's your kid. Even though it is his kid. But that's the point. We don't know the dynamics between she and the father. They're standing in the yard, uninjured. What happened? How did it come to be he was outside? Was he already outside when she pulled up? And mind you, there's a 9-month-old baby in the back seat or front seat of the car, not in a restraint. And the mother is plummeting towards the father, where he lands on top of the windshield and cracks the windshield of her car. So that leads me to believe, yeah, she hit him. Stay woke now. She didn't miss. So he jumped up there one. Take your pick. Maybe I should reread that. Let's reread that just to make sure everything I'm saying properly. MPD says Banks tried to run him over multiple times in front of his parents and also crashed into his parked vehicle, a 2008 Nissan Sentra. 9-month-olds in the car unrestrained. At the time of the incident, the father claimed the child's grandparents were in the yard but were not injured. Domestic Violence Bureau is investigating this story. It says Banks got upset over who needed to watch the child. Banks went back to her car and tried to run him over with her Toyota Corolla. Police said the father jumped. He jumped and landed on the hood of her car, causing abrasions to his right hand and arm, as well as breaking the car's windshield on impact. So she's bearing down on him. He jumps on top of the car. Make sure I stand corrected. Breaks the windshield. Child inside the car unrestrained. What in the hell is going on with you two? Let's do it like this. Young ladies, when you realize the baby father is not wanting to comply and help raising the child, keep it moving. Make alternative provisions for your child's daycare or whenever you need a babysitter. Trying to make somebody keep a child is a waste of time. As I said, I wasn't there. I don't know what the dynamics are between she and the baby daddy and the family. I don't know if she just popped up and told him, here's your kid, or he was supposed to keep the kid. And then when she gets there, he changes his mind. She's angry, frustrated, and she tries to run him over. He had to be outside for him to be able to jump up on the hood. What was actually going on? Because this is a strange story to me. They were arguing. And it says, got upset about who's going to watch the child. Banks then went back to her car and tried to run him over with a Toyota Corolla. So that leads me to believe that what? He was outside, not inside of the house. So who was inside? Does it say you went back? Or did she approach him outside because he was standing outside? Hey, here's your kid. Nah, I can't keep her today. Keep him today. I'm busy. So then she goes up to her car, parked, I'm assuming, wherever, jumps in it, crashes into his car, try to hit him. He jumps up on the hood, cracks her windshield. What the hell is going on? Once again, Miss Ladies, females, when you see that the father is not one, taking care of the child, responsibility, paying for the child, child support, all of that, feeding the child, keeping the child, keep it moving. Take him to court and get your money for your child, keep it moving. Arguing with his parents, no, keep it moving. The fact that he's still living at the house with his parents should tell you something. You are dealing with a child. Because a grown man don't have any business living with his damn parents. I doubt that he's taking care of his parents. The fact they're standing out in the yard means they're able to walk. Come on with it, Queen. So you're wasting your time. I heard a story similar to this a few months ago. And it goes something like this. What I'm about to tell you, I don't know if it's true or not, because I don't know if I half-ass believe the person that's spun the story, because they're so green for this female. Who the hell knows? He might believe any damn thing she told him. And this woman is currently in prison right now. True story, allegedly. Girl A goes to baby daddy to ask for money for the child. Allegedly, baby daddy won't give her the money. So she attempts to hit him with her car or hit him with a car. He files charges. She's now in prison. My understanding that allegedly she's in prison for this hit and run, however you want to word it. Vehicle, endangerment, whatever. Let's say that's true. Because as I said, you never know who to believe and what to believe with people. Why in the world would you waste your time arguing with somebody about a baby, a child? They don't want to keep them. leave. They don't want to give you money for the child, new shoes, formula, trip to Disneyland, wherever, school, trip. It doesn't matter. Walk away. Preserve your own dignity and walk away. You cannot make a person do anything. And I don't believe in arguing with a person about a child. That's one thing I will never do. Didn't do it, ain't gonna do it. That's just who the queen is. I'm not going to argue with you about no baby. You made the baby. So why am I arguing with you about taking care of your child? This is your responsibility. So therefore, if I come to you and say, hey, I need some money for the child's whatever, you tell me no, I'm done with it. I'm done. I'm not going to sit here and argue with you about no money. I'm not going to sit here and argue about who's going to keep a kid. See, this is what happens when you get yourself caught up with that baby daddy syndrome. And another thing I thought was strange when this guy was spinning his web to me, if allegedly you were dating her at the time, why is she going to the baby daddy cursing and fussing about some money for the child if you dating her? If she really cared for you and her child, she wouldn't even think about hitting the baby daddy with her car. She would have kindly walked out, cussed and fussed, walked out, went on about her business. How is solving the problem by killing the baby daddy with a damn car? So you want to now kill the father who won't be left to take care of the child if he ever want to take care of the child. 2, you're going to be incarcerated for vehicular homicide. Hell, my understanding, the boy already got one leg missing. You just trying to kill them all off altogether. And then we got dude number 2 who acts like he was dating her at the time. I'm assuming. I don't know if he was out free or locked up at the time. Both of them been locked up, prison. Put that together. So if you were out free when she hit the baby daddy, she obviously didn't care nothing about her relationship with you, that she would try to hit the baby daddy. Are y'all listening to what I'm saying? Because this is a stupid scenario I'm repeating to you. Baby daddy don't want to give me no money. I'm going to hit him with my damn car. So now the baby daddy can end up dead, hurt, and no baby daddy, and I'm in prison for hitting the baby daddy. So who's taking care of the kid? See, this story is just as stupid as the one I just brought you with this dizzy ass heifer down here wanting to hit the baby daddy because he don't want to keep the child or his parents don't want to keep the child. So was she arguing with the parents? Hey, y'all need to keep the baby. Y'all been keeping the baby, or y'all don't never keep the baby. What was the conversation? Why did you want to hit him? How is hitting him going to solve your baby dilemma? So let's go here. Let's just say he didn't want to keep the child on that fateful day. Are y'all listening to me? When you hit him, Dodo Bird, or you tried to hit him, you went to jail, which means you will not have your baby with you. That means, ding, 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 ding. Somebody had to take care of your 9-month-old while your dumb ass is sitting in jail because these people don't want to keep the damn baby. So that means somebody had to end up keeping the baby in the end because the mama went to jail. I'm done. There is no logic behind what I just repeated to you. In both scenarios, 2 dizzy black women running up on baby daddies pertaining to their children and hitting them with the car and attempting to hit them with the car. And this stupid girl down here in Memphis who's trying to get the father to keep the child, you're going to have to pay for damages to his car, any other charges that the state wants to bring against you. You're going to have child endangerment charges with your child. That means you're going to lose custody of your child, possibly go to jail, heavy fines. If you don't go to jail, you are just dumb as hell. That you would just get this stupefied and stoop to the level of endangering your life, your child's life, and the life of this guy, whether he is worthy or not. It's not worth it. And you know damn well his parents gonna soup that story right on up because they're right there watching. And God forbid any other neighbors decide they want to show up and go to court and testify. Yeah, I saw when she came in and she did this. She was hollering and screaming. She took the car, she ran it 3-4 times, then she tried to hit him. He jumped up on the windshield, cracked the windshield, heard the baby crying. You are a dumbass. You will not even get your child back. You won't get visitation rights if you go to jail for 1 year, 6 months. So the same people you crying about keeping your kid possibly be the damn ones to get custody of the damn child. If they want the baby. How about that? So let's go there. Who kept the baby when the mama got arrested? I'm dead. Oh my goodness. I can't. And as for the second story that I tied into this story of the woman that hit the baby daddy because he didn't want to give her no money, and that's right here in my backyard, she's still in penitentiary. Allegedly doing 5 years, allegedly for attempted murder of a vehicle against a person. I don't know if all that's true or not. That's just said information from her little lover. Godly, I can't. Somebody please call the paramedics. Story number what? Because I had so many. This last story I found, I think, in the queue yesterday. This is a crazy story coming out of California. Imagine seeing packages piled up at your neighbor's door day for day. Nobody's coming out to retrieve the packages. Perhaps you don't know your neighbors, you don't talk to them, but maybe you've seen them once or twice coming and going, whatever, but you just don't get in their business. You're not concerned about what's going on at the neighbor's house. Long story short, a young lady, or let's just say a woman, because I don't even know the age of this person, has been living in a house with her dead mother for a year. Somebody decided to finally do a welfare check, and they discovered the body, authorities, of a dead woman in her living room, deteriorated, and the daughter was found in another bedroom. Was the daughter mentally disabled? Full of her faculties? What is the age of the daughter? The age of the mother? Where were the friends, family? I'm gonna go ahead and ask all this now. Where was the friends, the family, the neighbors? How long were the packages piled up in front of the door, outside? Did anybody ever try to steal any of the damn packages? The meals that were delivered, were they government delivered meals to the house for the mother and the daughter, or just the mother? Or did the daughter order out every day? Can the daughter drive a car? Does the daughter have a driver's license? Where are her friends and family? Where are the family members and friends of the mother? How old are these people, the dead mother and the daughter? What in the hell am I talking about? 1 year. This story is just as gruesome as the story out of Texas, where the children were living in the apartment with the dead brother, covered up in a bedroom. Fast forward, California. Same scenario. Was this woman murdered by her own daughter, or did she die of natural causes? It's my understanding that the daughter is cooperating with police, and I have not been given the privilege to know that she's been arrested of any said crimes. I'm going to bring you that said information right now. Thank you for joining me. This will be my last story for this afternoon. God knows it's enough. I've never seen such craziness in all my life. It's a very wicked story coming out of California. Please check out content of one of my friends, Mr. Chris Thorns. Very nice guy. He talks about children cases on his network. This commentary is NBC, Bay Area News. Lord have mercy, Jesus, help me. Thank you for your time.
Connecting.
Getting out to work on something that you know.
Months ago. It all started with Petaluma police being called to a Windsor Drive home for a welfare check. Neighbors are stunned and still trying to make sense of it all. Outside the home, there were packages piled up, and inside, a resident living with the body of an older person who died months ago. It all started with Petaluma police being called to a Windsor Drive home for a welfare check. The person who lives in the home hadn't been seen in weeks. As many as 30 packages piled up outside. Neighbors' knocks went unanswered, and police ultimately made their way inside. That's when they found the body of a woman in the living room and her adult daughter, very much alive, in a bedroom.
It was kind of weird to know, like, oh, just across the street, like, this all was going on, like, but no one else knew.
Sarah Rice lives across the street and noticed activity yesterday near the home, which shares a driveway with 3 other homes.
We just noticed an ambulance come, like, around the morning time, and then over time we noticed that left, and then a police vehicle arrived, and then just a van coming later in the day.
To date, no trespassing signs are up near the homes. Police say given the stage of decomposition, they believe the woman in the living room died more than a year ago. They say the woman found living in the home said her mother had died of natural causes. Police say she's been taken to the hospital for evaluation and has been cooperating with investigators.
I read the news this morning, somebody else had sent it to me, and I was in shock.
This afternoon, another neighbor told us they were trying to make sense of it and wondered how this went on so long, noting many packages were stacked up.
The picture shows a lot of boxes. And this is what happened, you know, when you're really disconnected.
Police say at the moment this is an unattended death investigation. The home has also been red tagged, with investigators saying some parts of the home are uninhabitable. The sheriff's department says it's working to confirm the victim's identity and say that will likely take days. Christy Smith, NBC Bay Area News.
Bay Area News. What in the world is going on here? Adult daughter, elderly mother. How old is the adult daughter? How old was the mother? You're getting conflicting information because one person is saying, I haven't seen the lady in weeks. But you got people that see the dead body saying it looks like she's been dead a year. So which is it? The woman just died a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, or an entire year. The daughter says the mother died of natural causes. Is that true? How long has she been actually dead in that house on the sofa? What did she tell authorities, the daughter, about how long the mother was dead? She may say, oh, she died naturally. Oh, she died in her sleep. But did she tell them how long the mother's dead? Did she tell them the hell white years you've been living up in here with your dead damn mama? Are y'all listening to what I'm saying? This is crazy to me. You have been living in a house, nice area, don't get it twisted, nice looking area, nice looking home. Why in the world is this grown person living in the house with a decaying corpse? The fact that you are up, walking around lucid, allegedly they say she's been to the mailbox, that means what? It's not too much wrong with you. So why didn't you call 911 to say, hey, my mother's not breathing? Why would you stay in a house with a dead corpse for 1 day, let alone 1 year? Who has seen the woman come out of the apartment or house, in the past weeks? Because what's the truth? When an autopsy is done, that's when we'll get the information of how long the woman has actually been dead. The meals that were delivered to the house, were these meals delivered from a government agency that caters to the elderly and the shut-in and disabled? Or was the daughter calling out for food, such as through Uber Eats, DoorDash, so on and so forth? That's what's going to be the clincher. If we find out this is not meals delivered like Meals on Wheels, but the daughter was ordering out with a debit card, credit card. Ting! Did the daughter work? Is the daughter disabled? Does the daughter have children? Is she married, separated? How long has she been living in the house with her mom? Did she always live in the house with her mom? Where are the family, the friends, the neighbors? Who's going to testify they saw that woman recently come and go out of that? What's the truth to the timeline of death? What the hell am I talking about? This is ridiculous. Now, only way I can see she stayed in there with her mom is if she's mentally challenged. She just didn't know what to do, and her mindset wasn't of a functioning, rational adult. You be the judge. Everyone's entitled to his or her opinion because we don't know the age of the woman that was left behind, what her mental state is. But I can tell you this is a very wicked story coming out of California, Petaluma. This is a wicked story. I'm going to try to bring you more content pertaining to this, because this is baffling to me that anybody would stay in a house with a deceased person and not call an ambulance to pick up the body, not have a proper burial for their loved one. This is strange to me. But we have heard of cases of people staying inside of homes with deceased bodies. Lord have mercy. Give me strength. Okay, everybody, let me see what I can find on this baffling case coming out of California. KRON4 is my source. Last story for this afternoon. Thank you for joining me. And thank you for your patience. Petaluma woman whose mother was found dead hadn't left the house since 2020. A Petaluma woman never left her house for more than 2 years, not even after her mother died inside their Windsor Drive home, and the corpse remained in the living room, police told KRON4 Thursday. Based on statements made, detectives believe she has not left the house other than to go to the mailbox since the beginning of March 2020. Now, many of you know that this is when the start of COVID began, the lockdown. All her living essentials were ordered online and having them delivered to the home. Oh, now, there's your piece of information right there. All her living essentials were ordered online and having them delivered to the home. This included daily meal deliveries, Petaluma Police Department Lieutenant Jeremy Walsh said. So is he speaking of the dead person or the living person? I'm going to repeat it so we are thorough on what I'm saying. A Petaluma woman never left her house for more than 2 years, not even after her mother died inside their Windsor Drive home. And the corpse remained in the living room, police told 4 News. So that means what I said earlier. It's going to either be one of the two. Meals were delivered there from a government agency or the daughter ordered out while living in the house with the dead mother. And this article is stating she never left the house more than 2 years, not even after her mother died. Based on statements made, detectives believe she has not left the house other than to go to the mailbox since the beginning of March 2020. All her living essentials were ordered online, having them delivered to the home. This included daily meal deliveries, Petaluma Police Department Lieutenant Jeremy Walsh said. Petaluma police officers found the woman's mother dead inside of the living room Tuesday morning and launched a suspicious death investigation. Given the condition of the decedent being in the advanced stages of decomposition, it appeared she had been deceased for over a year, PPD wrote. PPD officers were first alerted to check on the home's residence by a concerned neighbor who noticed 20 to 30 packages stacked up on the porch. Neighbors said no one answered the door when they knocked. Upon arrival, officers also made numerous attempts to contact the resident, which were unsuccessful. Given their observations, coupled with the information obtained by the reporting party, officers were concerned for the welfare of the resident and made the decision to make entry into the home, PPD wrote. Officers found the daughter in a bedroom and the corpse in the living room. The woman told police that her mother died of natural causes in April of 21. Walsh said detectives are still trying to determine if the daughter committed a crime, such as negligence as a sole care provider. Police will retrace the daughter's actions or inactions which could have contributed to her deterioration and ultimate death, Walsh said. The daughter's self-isolation began in March of 2020, the same month when the COVID-19 pandemic prompted Sonoma County officials to order residents to stay at home. Sonoma County health officer issued a public health order directing residents to shelter in place starting March 18, 2020. At the time, there were 4 active cases of locally transmitted COVID in Sonoma County. All individuals currently living within the county are ordered to shelter at their homes, county health officials wrote. Sonoma County's health officer, Dr. Sundari May, said in March 2020, "We urge our residents not to panic. However, please take this order seriously, as COVID-19 is a real threat to our community." Investigators did not say if the pandemic was a motivating factor behind why the daughter never left the home for 2.5 years. Police have not released the mother and daughter's identities. A city code enforcement officer red-tagged the home, deeming it uninhabitable on Tuesday. The daughter was transported to a hospital for medical evaluation and treatment. Detectives will review the mother's medical history, try to find any surviving friends, relatives for interviews, and figure out why exactly her death was never reported. Detectives will also look into financial records to see if any benefits entitled to the mother were being collected and inappropriately used before or after her death. A man who lives next door told KRON4 that he and his family never saw the mother or daughter since he moved into the neighborhood 3 years ago. The neighbor said delivery packages frequently piled up the front door. Another neighbor was in disbelief that people were not called to conduct a welfare check sooner. I also agree. The Sonoma County Sheriff's Coroner's Office will perform an autopsy for the mother to determine official cause of death. Currently, there are no outstanding suspects or safety concerns in the neighborhood. Anyone who has further information relevant to this investigation is encouraged to email Petaluma Police Department Detective Daniel Boyd at lowercase letters dboyd@cityofpetaluma.org or call him at 707-778-4334. Let's hear what they have to say about this case. See if I can bring this up. Well, there's a video in there inside of this article. This is my last story for this afternoon. Thank you for joining me. Sometimes you have to reread things to get a proper understanding. Sometimes I just skim over stuff, but I want to be thorough in the information that I'm bringing to you. It is said in this commentary that the woman has not left the house for 2.5 years. And after death of the mother, she was ordering parcels online, which means she had full knowledge of a dead woman lying in the living room, had the capacity to order items online and delivery of meals. So that's why I asked that question in the beginning of this commentary. Were meals automatically being delivered to the family via a government agency such as Meals on Wheels? Or was the surviving daughter ordering packages and things online, meaning she had willful intent and knowledge of how to use a phone, an app? Yes, she did. What happened to the mother? Did the mother die of natural causes? Why didn't she call the ambulance, somebody to come and take her mother out of there, get appropriate autopsy and burial? How old is this woman? How old was the mother? Where are the friends? Where are the family? As the neighbor said, why didn't someone do a welfare check sooner? I knew something was suspicious when the neighbor said, I ain't seen her in a couple of weeks. You didn't see who in a couple of weeks? The daughter or the mother? Now that I've reread the article verbatim, she ordered things online, never left the house for 2.5 years. So that means she has willful intent and knew what she was doing. So am I also to believe the mother died of natural causes? Because what sane person would lie in a house with a decaying corpse, smelling up the house? You got to think of maggots, because the body is no longer whole. It is not breathing. So it's going to deteriorate, and you're going to stay in the same house with a rotting corpse and be walking over and around your dead mother, to and from the kitchen, to and from the door, checking the mail. Why were packages piled up outside? What were in the packages that the daughter was ordering? Now that we know she's been ordering things. What is the time of death of the mother? When was the mother last seen outside of that house? Who was the last person to speak to the mother via a phone, text message, Skype, video messenger? What? Where are the friends and family of the mother, of the daughter? How old is the daughter? Did the woman just crack up because her mama died and she couldn't bear the fact of knowing her mom's dead, so she just left her there? Are we talking about a woman who just cracked up? Was she the sole caretaker of the mother before death? Whose house is the name in? Are both names on the deed and or lease? Were they renting, or did they own the property? Did the mother own the property? They say that the house shares its driveway with somebody else. Ding, ding, ding. Are y'all listening? If the house is close proximity to another house, duplex, however it was set up, you mean to tell me when you drove on the same driveway, you didn't smell a rotting corpse? Come on, y'all. Was she burning incense candles to mask the smell of her dead mother? What all has she ordered in 2.5 years online, or the past year since her mother's been deceased? People don't even know what's the truth. Cooperating with the police, but is she telling the truth? Was she over her mother's income? Check. Was the mother receiving Social Security benefits? Did the daughter have assets, or was she the payee of the mother's money? Are we talking about a case of abuse and neglect by the daughter? Was she the payee of the mother's money? Was she treating her mother appropriately? Feeding her, bathing her, making sure she had essential needs, medications, doctor's visits? See, this can go on and on with the questions because we don't have any information. Where are the outside parties that knew the mother? Were these two recluses, two people that just lived alone, didn't bother anybody, didn't fool with anybody, didn't let anybody in, didn't go anywhere? Is there a running car, automobile? One would say it couldn't have been. Why would she be going out? Why would she be ordering food in if she had a car? Can the daughter drive? Could the mother drive? Why didn't anybody smell this dead woman in this house? Come on, y'all. Because you can't tell me you're sharing a driveway with another house and you don't smell a rotting corpse. Or maybe I'm just a little slow. I don't know. What is the age of the daughter? What is the age of the mother? How in the world a body can lie up in a house for 1 year with another human being that is a relative, and they not call the damn ambulance to get their parent into a hospital and into a funeral home? And I can't use my mind to say the person didn't know any better. They were mentally disabled, because the article says she ordered packages and things online, such as meal delivery. So that means you had access to money. So let's go there. Did the daughter work? Was she using her mother's debit card, credit card, checkbook? What? And we already know that when you're ordering meals, you're going to use an app, or you're going to be calling the restaurant or place directly. And you would 9 times out of 10 be paying online or over the phone with a credit card or debit card. So whose money was she paying the meals with? What type of payment was she using to pay the meals? Her own money or her mother's money? Did this daughter have a job? Did she work from home? Who is she? Who are they? And why did the welfare check come a year later? Could it be possibly the woman's been dead longer than 1 year? And the person that says, I saw her weeks ago, which her are you referencing? The daughter or the mother? When was the last time the daughter stepped outside of that house? It has been said by authorities she only went outside to check the mail. So if that is true, she only went outside to check the mail. Why are there packages piled up at the damn door? When you go look at the picture of the house, nice neighborhood, one is going to say, well, one, what was she ordering? Two, why did she leave the packages outside to draw attention, knowing somebody's going to eventually call the police? Because once you see packages piled up, that leads one to believe something bad has happened to the people inside of the property. The fact that a man says he and his family have lived there for 3 years and never saw them. So now you have to ask yourself this. If the pandemic was 2 years ago, the start of March 2020, and the man says he's lived there 3 years ago, put it together. Is this just a neighbor who really don't pay attention to what's going on in the neighborhood to know who's coming and going, to say when he actually saw the participants living in that house coming and going? Or is he the type, he has paid attention and he's spot on, he hasn't seen neither come out of that house in 3 years? As I said before, are we talking about two recluses that only lived in the home, never ventured outside, ordered their food online, parcels, deliveries, toiletries through apps and using a debit card? And if so, why? California, beautiful state, sunny, bright. Who would not want to go outside ever? But many people live this way all over the United States and abroad. They don't venture out, they don't go out. But you have to be afforded money to stay in all damn day and watch TV, Wi-Fi, cable, and never go outside your house to go to the supermarket, the store, Dollar General, Walmart, Target, to see where I'm going. You don't go out to eat, you don't go to a dinner, you don't go to bars, you don't go to church, you don't do nothing. Then that means you got to have money. What was the sole income of both parties? Was this girl using her mother's income before and after death? Thank you so much for joining me. This is a very baffling story. Because the thought of staying inside of any domain with a rotting corpse is beyond comprehension. Beyond comprehension. And I can't even see a person or child that's mentally disabled not going outside of the door to alert someone that their parent is deceased. Why would they not do it? Many people are mentally disabled, but they do have the fortitude to pick up the phone and call 911 or walk out of the door and tell somebody, hey, please come in here, help me. My mom is not alive. My mom is not breathing. My mom is sick. I just can't see even a mentally disabled human being not going out to the public to try to find help. And the fact that this article states there were deliveries to the house, they're visible by pictures and photographs. She obviously admitted she's called outside for meals delivered to the house. She can't be that mentally disabled. That means she knows how to use an app, use the internet, use a cell phone, and dial for food. She's not that handicapped. Why would you live in a house with your dead mother for a year? Why would you not call an ambulance? Why would you not bury your mother properly? The fact that she's an adult means you wouldn't be at risk for being removed from the house, such as a child, and go into foster care, state care. So why would you not get aid to your own mother? Or is this a case of somebody psychologically damaged, and when the mother died, she flipped out and just lived in an alternate universe in this house with a dead person, but yet has the fortitude to order meals and toiletries and things online. What are we saying here? When I get more commentary pertaining to this baffling story coming out of Petaluma, California, I will bring you an update. This is a very baffling story to me. Probably just as baffling as all the other stories I brought to you. I brought you various stories today pertaining to the disappearance of Chadwick Carr. He is still missing out of Clinton, Tennessee from the foundation. That was the last place he was seen. No notifications to the general public or his family. No updates by law enforcement. Where is he? I do believe the proprietor, the staff, and the housemates are responsible for the disappearance of Mr. Carr. I do believe he is no longer alive. I believe they harmed him in that house or on the property, and it is a cover-up by the foundation and the housemates. More than one person knows where Chadwick Carr is and what happened to him. I brought you content of a mother out of the Bronx, New York, who was viciously murdered in her apartment. Her neck was slashed and stabbed in the chest. Weapon left on top of her clean by the perpetrator, who has now been arrested and is incarcerated. Information of a black woman down in Memphis who attempted to run her baby daddy over because he and his family would not keep the child. I also brought you information coming out of Memphis, Tennessee as well, of a hit and run earlier this month of an African-American female with no suspects. The suspect ran her over 2 times in her own car. What happened? She leaves behind 3 children. Now these kids don't have a mother. Did she know her perpetrator? Did she have involvement with this person? Did they have an altercation that morning? Or is this a random crime, a robbery, carjacking, and the person ran her over 2 times so she could not identify him, her, or them to authorities? Avoid prosecution. But then I bring you this harrowing story out of California of a woman living in a house, allegedly for a year with a dead mother, and ordering things online and not coming out of the house for 2.5 years. Is that allegation true? These are very devastating stories I brought to you pertaining to gross negligence, homicide, negligence of a child in a car, the one with the mother trying to hit the baby daddy for not keeping the child. There was a 9-month-old in that car. 9 times out of 10, this woman will lose custody of the 9-month-old. A woman hit 2 times, run over in her own car. Allegedly, the car jumped the curb. The person seemed very intent in killing this woman, and she did die at the hospital. And the police went to her family, the mother, asking was this a domestic situation that she was in, which leads me to believe that possibly before the woman died, she told the ambulance worker something about who hit her. You don't know people. Because each story that I've spun to you today, a person knew their killer or the person attempting to harm them. There's only one story that possibly it was random, and that's the one where the woman was hit by the car 2 times in her own car, but there's no verification. And the one thing I didn't say in this commentary pertaining to that story is, where is the car? There was no mention of that in the news story or the news clip. Where is the car? I feel bad I didn't bring that to your attention. Because you don't have a suspect, you also didn't mention that her car was ever found. Don't you find that interesting? End of the month, about to be a new month, no suspects found, and no mention of a car being found by the perpetrator, which belonged to the victim. So, hidden, put in water, or chop shop? Was this a carjacking gone terribly, terribly wrong? Or somebody had an altercation with the victim and ran her over in her own car? I want to thank you all so much for joining me. Please have a safe week. I will post a movie of the week to my community board. Please check out my community board for breaking news and stories and updates to information I brought to you. I also have new commentary pertaining to Mr. Donald Trump on my community board. This is a ever evolving saga pertaining to Mr. Blockhead. It's never going to stop. It's never going to end. There's always going to be something pertaining to this heathen. If I get more information pertaining to any story I just brought you, I will post it to my community board and or upload a video pertaining to the said information. Everything I bring you to this network has a source. Thank you so much for joining me. If you'd like to donate to this great network, Everyday Shenanigans, $McAngie 129, Cash App. You all have a wonderful week. Prayers for the Carr family that they get justice. If somebody comes forward and tells the truth pertaining to the disappearance of Chadwick Carr, I know what's going to happen eventually. Somebody's going to slip up and tell what they did, what they saw. And all I can say is have mercy on your soul. Because for you to carry the burden of knowing what happened to Chadwick and or be involved, you are just as guilty if you stood by, you listened, you took in the information, and you didn't alert authorities. You are no different than the person that administered the blow. And that's my personal opinion. Thank you for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans.